Okay, I think we can begin. Okay, welcome to the 11th lecture. Um, so, yesterday we were discussing the median finding, or more generally, the K selection problem. So, we were discussing a randomized solution. So, today we'll complete the argument, the performance analysis or the runtime analysis of the algorithm, and then we also give a deterministic solution for the same problem. Okay. Just a quick look at the algorithm that we had looked at yesterday. It's what we call as a quick select. It's just a variant of or a restriction of quick sort. All we do is randomly choose a pivot and then partition the array. And there are three possibilities for the pivot. And based on the value of k and the rank of the pivot, so we can decide which part of the array that the element that we are looking for, that is element of rank k, uh, in the array. Okay, so if the rank of pivot is exactly k, so then it has to be the output. So that is decided by size of L. So size of L plus 1 is the rank of the pivot. And in case if the rank of A is greater than or greater than k, so that is size of L is greater than k minus 1. Sorry, I forgot to correct it. That should be k minus 1 here. Then we are sure that the rank k element is in the subarray L, and hence we recursively compute or recursively output, recursively run the algorithm. Else, we know that the element should be in R, and we accordingly shift the rank of the required element and then recursively compute. Okay, so quick argument on correctness. Okay, so we know that, so let's label, so AK denote the rank K element. Rank K. Okay, so then there are three possibilities. So case 1, AK is equal to A. Case 2, AK is in L. Case 3, AK is in R. So since LMR forms a partition of the array, one of the cases should happen, right? Now, when is this true? So this is if and only if cardinality of L is k minus 1. This is if and only if cardinality of L is greater than k minus 1. This is if and only if cardinality of L is less than k minus 1. Okay, that is number of elements in the left side of the array. So based on that, so yeah, so we can see that one of these possibilities should hold, because so this is true because LMR forms a partition of the array. And how did we ascertain these conditions? By just looking at the size of L. Okay, so hence the algorithm runs correctly. Okay, so by a simple induction, then by induction hypothesis, each recursive call runs correctly or outputs correctly based on the case, and combined with the above, algorithm is correct. Okay, correctly output. So I will not really say how to do it by induction. So what to assume is for all arrays of size less than n, the algorithm run, and for all values of k within the range, the algorithm runs correctly. And then these three cases ascertain that, I mean, these are the only three possible cases. Based on each case, so if ak is in L, the corresponding recursive call output correctly by induction hypothesis. Similarly, if ak is in R, the corresponding recursive call outputs correctly by induction hypothesis. And this case is straightforward. Okay. So yeah, that is about the correctness part. So now we are going to do the runtime analysis for the algorithm. So let's just revisit the notation. So let TNK denote the expected running time of quick select. So remember that it's a randomized algorithm, hence we can only talk about expectation. Okay. So let TNK denote the expected running time of quick select for selecting rank A element. So we'll maximize over all possible case. The problem, I mean, the reason why we need to do is in this algorithm, if you look at it, right, the value of k can potentially change depending on which side you're recursing on. Okay. So we will have to talk about all possible case. So the simplest thing is to do the maximum. Anyway, we are looking at worst case here, right? Worst case expected running time. So we'll take maximum of the expected values. So Tn as maximum of the expected values. So yeah, let's just quickly analyze. So one thing is to partition, we require n-1 comparisons. That is given. So in addition to n-1 comparisons, let's see what are the possibilities. We'll just tabulate it. It's easy. Okay. So rank of or size of L, time, probability. So let's write it as a table. Sorry. So size of L being 0 or 1, 2, say 3, etc., etc. We'll stop in the middle. N by 2 minus 1, n by 2, n by 2 plus 1, etc. What is the maximum size of L? So in the worst, I mean, whatever, in the largest value of rank of the pivot is n, right? So the last element, maximum element. So in that case, size of L will be n-1. Okay. So what is the runtime? So here the runtime or whatever the recursive call being made, we'll always assume that we make the worst possible. Okay. When size of L is 0, what is the size of R?
n-1.
n-1, right? So we'll assume that the k is such that, so k is greater than 1, or in other words, the runtime could be t of n-1. Okay. When size of L is 1, R has size of n-2, so we just take the worst case, that is t of n-2. Here this is t of n-3. When rank is n by 2 minus 1, size of L is n by 2 minus 2, and what is size of R? N by 2 plus 1. So we take that as the worst case. So n by 2 plus 1, and rank is, size of L is n by 2. So what is the worst case? T of n by 2, because L is bigger than R in this case. Here n by 2 plus 1, etc., etc., again n-1. So is this clear? So at every case we are assuming bad k. Okay, the bad k will be different for each case. Okay, so we are doing a worst case analysis here, worst case expected running time, even with respect to k as well as the arrays. So when I have, say, t of I and n minus I, or I minus 1 and t of n minus I take maximum one. Okay, so only assumption here is the larger the array size, the larger the running time. Okay, now what are the probabilities of?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yeah.
Sir, in n minus 2, n by 2 minus 1 case, where the size of L is n by 2 minus 1,
Mm-hmm.
so there is a pivot and the right hand side is n by 2.
Oh, yeah, right hand side should be n by 2. You're right. You're right. Yes. Yeah, I missed the pivots. This is size of L, right? Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Sir, in this case, what is the value of k?
So,
Are we
no, we're taking the bad value for k, right? K should be greater than n by 2. Okay. So, any value greater than n by 2 will yield this recurrence.
okay?
Yeah. So, in the other cases, I mean, towards the right, if value is less than n by 2, right? This will yield the recurrence, or whatever, less than the rank of pivot. It should be less than the rank of pivot. I mean, yeah, it's based on whether it's less than or equal to or greater than the rank of pivot. Because in this case, in these cases, we are recursing on the left hand side, and here we are recurring on the right hand side of the array, or right partition of the array. Okay. See, in reality, such worst case scenarios may not occur. I mean, see, you will be running the algorithm for a fixed k and so on, right? So it may not, but like I said, for simplifying the analysis as well as taking the worst case into account, we are just taking the maximum possible for all cases. 1 by n. So what are the probabilities? What is the probability of choosing rank 1 element? Size of, remember that size of L is 0 if rank of the pivot is 1. All of them are equally likely. So the probabilities are 1 by n, 1 by n, 1 by n. Okay. So now what is my expected running time? Value multiplied by probability and take summation. So you just multiply these and sum. So take Tn minus 1 into 1 by n, Tn minus 2 into 1 by n, Tn minus 3 into 1 by n, and so on. Okay, plus n minus 1. Any question on this? Okay. So we'll just write
Yeah,
this formally
excuse me,
now.
sir. Just a minute.
Yes.
Is this
Yeah.
probability is the probability of choosing the pivot, right?
Yes, probability of size of L being 0, size of L is 1, and so on, which is equivalent to saying rank of pivot is 1, rank of pivot is 2, rank of pivot is 3, etc. Rank of pivot is n.
Yeah, that is fine. Then what did, like, I don't understand the part where we were multiplying the probability with the time
Yeah, so how do
complexity.
you compute the
Are we,
expected running time, right?
yeah, we,
So
we
the,
add the probability and then the x,
yeah,
it is
you take the
basically,
value here, which is the expected value when the size of whatever the recursive, I mean, subarray for recursion is n minus 1 into the probability of getting that. This into the probability of getting that, and so on. That is what expected value is, right?
yeah, okay, thanks.
So, yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Is it the time complexity for the successive recursive calls that we are writing t of n minus 1 and in a single quick select?
No, 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 no. These are the possibilities. Based on size of L, what is the running time for the recursive call?
For the
And
full
each
array.
of that has a probability of occurring, right?
For the full array.
Yes.
That's why 1 by n.
Yeah. So the probability of that happening is 1 by n. So to get the expectation, we have to multiply probability with the value and sum them up. Okay. And we have this n minus 1 additional anyway. That is deterministic. That has nothing to do with the randomness. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, sir, I have
Yeah.
one question.
Yes. Yeah.
Here, we are not considering k because we are assuming that the k would be the kth element would be present in the larger of the two arrays.
Yeah, that is what we are doing. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because actual value will depend on k, but like I said, right? See, k keeps on changing, right? Depending on how you make the recursive call. Okay, so k can potentially change. So that is why we are just taking the worst case for k. So at any point of time, we are only considering the value of k such that the scenario is worst case. That is, you are recursing on a larger subarray. That's all, on the larger subarray. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yes.
So the whole time complexity for each size of L is for it's like it's for selecting the kth element, right?
Yes.
In the we are considering the biggest array among the
Yes,
two.
we are just assuming that we have to recurse on the bigger array. That's all. So that
Yeah,
how is it determined by the value of k, right?
Yes. So if the
Yeah.
size of the L is n by 2 minus 1, then we know that the next element will be the okay. So it's not sorted. Okay,
Yeah,
I
it's
got
not sorted. Yeah, it's not
yeah.
sorted, and k we don't know. I mean, so k is, so in this
Okay.
case we'll assume that k is greater than n by 2. So you
Okay.
have to recurse on the right subarray whose size is n by 2. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good. So here is a formal expression. So T of n is bounded by n minus 1 plus 1 by n. So if, remember that, I mean, pivot was chosen uniformly at random. So that is why this, all of these table entries, they were 1 by n. The probabilities were all equal. So 1 by n comes out. So I just write this as T of max I minus 1 comma n minus I. Okay, I minus 1 is size of L. So this I is the rank of the pivot. Okay, just to by simplifying it, I mean, so you can see that the value goes from n minus 1 to n by 2, and then again goes from n by 2 to n minus 1. So it repeats twice, right? So this basically is this 2 because of repeating twice. I equal to n by 2 to n minus 1 T of I. Okay, or more precisely,
Sir,
this is how it looks like. Yes.
the summation, shouldn't it go till n, since the rank can go till n?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. Yes, rank can go to n. Yeah, rank can go to n, but no. So this summation will go to n. Okay, this summation is n minus 1. That is fine, because now this is no more rank. Okay, this is for the values that are present. So okay, so I'll just so how does this look? So rank can go from 1 to n. You're right. So but what are the values here that appear? So T of n minus 1 plus T of n minus 2 plus etc. plus T of n by 2, T of n by 2 plus T of n by 2 plus 1 etc. plus T of n minus 1, right? Is that right? Looking from the table. So T of n minus 1, it goes down all the way to n by 2. Then again n by 2 and n by 2 plus 1 etc. n minus 1. Okay. So from that, if I just so combine the corresponding values, so I get 2 here, 2 factor. So I equal to n by 2 to n minus 1. Is that fine?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just to make it more, I mean, easier to read. So the expression looks like this without the summation. Okay. So T of n is less than or equal to n minus 1 plus 2 by n into T of n by 2 plus etc. up to T of n minus 1. Okay. So that usual trick. Okay. So you just make an induction hypothesis or make a conjecture. Okay. So let's assume T of n is maybe equal to or less than or equal to 4n as a solution for the recurrence. Okay. So now we just substitute. So T of n is less than or equal to this n minus 1 comes here plus 2 by n into, so by induction, this is 4i. Okay, so I Again, there is a typo here. It should be n minus 1. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the summation looks like this. So 4 into n by 2 plus 4 into n by 2 plus 1, etc., etc. 4 into n minus 1. So let's just quickly solve it here. I'll use this space. Okay. So what does the summation looks like? 4 into n by 2 plus n by 2 plus 1 plus etc. plus n minus 1. Okay. So this is nothing but, so you take 1 plus etc. up to n minus 1 minus 1 plus etc. up to n by 2 minus 1, right? Into 4, of course. So what is this quantity? So this is 4 into, so n into n minus 1 by 2, is that right? Minus n by 2 into n by 2 minus 1 whole divided by 2. Okay. Yeah. So you can roughly upper bound this by 3 by 4n. Okay. So this is at most 3 by 4n into 4, of course. So this is what we have here. So this summation boils down to, oh, sorry. Okay. I don't know what happened. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So if you take out the 4 here, oh, okay, sorry, not n, in fact, n square, okay? N square here. There's n square, right? N into n minus 1. So the whole thing now, this becomes 4 into 3n by 4. I'm taking this 2 by n inside, okay? Is that okay? Did I mess up something? Yeah, this will be 3 by 8 n square, okay? This should be, otherwise I'm not correct, okay? Yeah. So because this is n by n square by 2 minus n square by 8, right? Okay, how do I get that? So n by 2, n by 2. Okay. So this is n square by 2. Okay, let me do some calculation here. So n square by 2 minus, I'm just looking at the highest order terms. N by 2 into n by 2, that's n by 4, that's n by 8, right? So n square by 8. So what is this? So this is 4 minus 1. So 3 n square by 8, right? The highest order term is 3 n square by 8. So we're ignoring the lower order terms. So this is at most 4 into 3 by 8 n square. Okay. So there is 2 by n in the, multiplying it. So in other words, this comes to 4 into 3n by 4. Okay. Now you are adding, in fact, it will be slightly smaller, I think. But anyway, let's, because there is a subtraction here, right? So n by 2 is being subtracted, but a smaller amount is being subtracted here. So let's ignore that. So n minus 1 plus 3n. So this is at most 4n. Okay. So our induction hypothesis is validated. It will be slightly smaller than 4n, but that's okay. The upper bound still holds. Okay. Yeah. So even though in the worst scenario, right, our values are going to be significantly larger than n by 2, when you average it out, it's pretty much equal to what we have as n by 2. Okay. Or in other words, you can intuitively imagine, in expectation, the array size is shrinking, which is kind of okay, right? Because what was the rank of the pivot element in expectation? You must have done that. There was an exercise, right?
Rank was less than 3n by 4.
Yeah, less than 3n by 4 in expectation, yes. But so what is the expected value of the rank?
Yeah, n plus 1 by 2.
N plus 1 by 2 is 1 by 2 is the expected value, right? Then you can use Markov inequality to say that with probability whatever some constant value, it will be at least 1 by n by 4 and at most 3n by 4. Hence, these values with a good probability, it will be bounded by 3n by 4. Okay. So the other cases will occur with lower probability, and when you average it out, it just shows up that, I mean, they are not contributing much. That is all is happening. Okay, but still, worst case scenarios, still it could be how much? What is the worst case scenario here? Every time you're recursing with, say, n minus 1, right? Without the expectation. I mean, worst case scenario is with respect to the pivot. So n minus 1, n minus 1, n minus 1. How many? N minus 1 plus n minus 2 plus n minus 3 plus etc. etc. So this will be n square. In the worst case, this algorithm still can run in n square, but in expectation, it runs in 4n time. Okay. When I say worst case with respect to the random choices made, not with respect to the input. Okay, there is still a bad random choice, but on expectation, on an average, the running time is 4n over the random choices. Okay, so that is all we have proved. Now you can use Markov inequality to prove probability upper bound. You can see that this value is at most 8n with the probability at least half. This value is at least 20n with the probability at least 4 by 5 and so on. Okay, so sorry, this value is at most 20n with the probability at least 4 by 5 and so on. Okay, so we can get high probability versions of this, but it's certainly surprising, right, compared to Quicksort, where the expected runtime was n log n. So here we got order of n, constant times n. Okay. Yeah, we have just 1 or 2 minutes to take any further questions before we move to the deterministic algorithm. So there seems to be one chat. Yeah, somebody please say something, because I'm not sure if you are hearing me.
Sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Hello, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, audible, right? Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes internet connection can be gone. Okay, good. Okay. So now we are going to come up with a deterministic algorithm. The randomness is gone for good. Okay. So only difference is we are going to choose pivot in a very complicated way, slightly more complicated way. Okay. So for Quicksort or quick select, the choice of pivot was fairly simple. Okay. I mean, randomized Quicksort. You just randomly choose an element. Now instead we are going to do a bit more what I call as circus. Okay. So yeah, I'll just present the algorithm first up and then demonstrate it with an example. Okay, then we do the analysis. So yeah, as in the case of quick select, we have an array of n elements and a value k. Okay, between 1 and n. So what we do is we group the array into n by 5 subarrays, or we divide the array into n by 5 subarrays, each containing 5 elements. That is, first 5 elements go into A1, next 5 elements go into A2, and so on. So for simplicity, just so that we deal with only number, we'll assume that n is divisible by 5. Okay. though it's not necessary. I mean, because the only thing that is going to go bad is the last subarray will have less than 5 elements. That's all. Okay. Now what we do is we compute the median for each subarray. So for a 5-element array, how much time you require to compute the median?
Order of 1.
Yeah, order of 1. Say it's roughly maybe 10 comparisons or 20 comparisons, right? It is order of 1. It is constant, right? So constant size array, you can compute the median in constant number of operations. Okay. So let's say the medians are mu1 to mu n by 5. Okay. So now what we do is recursively compute the median of medians. That is, take this as an array and compute the median recursively. That is called, so if this is select a k comma n, we call here select the array, let's call this as mu. K will be n by 5 by 2, which is n by 10, comma n is now n by 5. Okay, this is how. So assuming that the recursive call returns some value. Okay, so let's say a is the value returned. Okay, it's legitimate, right? Because the size of the array is much smaller than n now. So we can apply induction hypothesis for the correctness. Now we use this a as pivot. Okay, so let's see what we have done so far. We grouped into small portions, and for each small portion we computed the median, and we took the medians as a new array. We made a recursive call. Okay, we already made a recursive call. Okay, so what is it for? To get a pivot. That's all. So through this recursive call we get a median that we are going to use as pivot. Now the process is similar to quick select. Use this as a pivot, partition the array into left, middle and right. Middle is the pivot itself, assuming elements are distinct for simplicity. Okay. Now based on the value of k and size of L, recursively solve on the suitable subarray, one of them. There are 3 possibilities we already saw in quick select, right? That is, if size of L is k minus 1, then return A. If size of L is greater than k minus 1, then recurse on L, else recurse on R, suitably adjusting the value of k. Okay. Is the algorithm clear to everybody? So there are 2 recursive calls that we made. So there is a recursive call just to compute the pivot, and then usual quick select kind of recursive call. Okay, so there are 2 recursive calls. And before that, what is the work that we have done? So the work is to select median for each of the subarray, which we said maybe 20 comparisons at most. Okay, whatever favorite brute force comparison, brute force median finding, that would be good enough. You just sort the array and then take the middle element. Okay, so you do, so the amount of effort here is, say, some constant times n. I'll just write it as 20n. Okay, and you also need n minus 1 operations to obtain the partition here, right? So n minus 1. So total of 21n operations that we have done. Okay, and we made 2 recursive calls. So let me just demonstrate the whole process with an example. Okay, so any question on the algorithm for now? Because this looks a bit complicated. Like I said, I mean, there are 2 recursive calls, okay, unlike quick select. Okay, so let's take a simple example. Okay, so so it should be a multiple of 5, that then it's easier to understand. So we take array of 15 elements. I hope no element is repeated. Okay. Now we partition it into 3 subarrays. Okay. Each of size 5. So A1, you just take the first 5 elements, put it as A1. So A1 is 10, 12, 5, 4, 10, 9. Okay. Take the next 5 elements and put it as A2. So 22, 16, 11, 13, 24. This forms A2. And take the remaining elements, 5 elements, and label it as A3. So in the same order, we are not changing the order, 8, 7, 14, 15, 19. Okay. So now we compute medians. So what are the medians? So let's mark them now here itself. So the sorted order here is 4, 5, 9, 12, 10. Sorry, 4, 5, 9, 10, 12, right? So the median here is, somebody? What is the median?
9.
The middle element, 9, right?
9.
Yes, good. Okay. And here, what is the sorted order? 11, 13, 16, 22, 24. What should be the middle element? 16. Okay. And here, what is the sorted order? 7, 8, 14, 15, 19. So middle element is 14. Okay. Yeah. So these are our medians. So mu1 is 9, right? Mu2 is 16, right? Mu3 is 14. Okay. So now how does my array look like? So mu looks like 9, 16, 14. We'll just write it in that order. Okay. So M1, mu1 here, mu2 here, and mu3 here. Okay. So in this case, we recursively compute median among these. So what is the value of A here? And in this case, it's trivial. I mean, it's a 3 size array, but in general, you could have n by 5 elements there. So what is the median here?
14.
14, right? So A is 14. Median of medians. We just call it as median of medians. Medians. Okay. So this recursive call yields us 14. Okay, we are not analyzing the recursive call, we are just taking the value just to demonstrate. Okay, so our value of A is 14. Yes.
So in this second step, if there are more elements, you are saying that there would be a recursive call.
Yeah, even here it will be a recursive call. You see, I didn't write one base case for the recursion, right? If the size of array is say smaller than 10, then by brute force compute. See, in all this quick select, quick sort, everywhere I just skip that part, right? See, always in any recursion there should be base condition, right, or terminating conditions.
Yes.
Okay. So based on your terminating condition, this may be a recursion or it will just terminate. But it's certainly a recursion at this level. It may not go further down. Okay. So that is all. Because size itself is less than 5, so there's no point in recursing further. See, here we need size of the array should be greater than 5, right? So if the size of array less than 5, by brute force, look for the kth element and output. That part I haven't written. Okay. Okay, good. So now A is 14. So now what are we going to do? So we are going to partition the array. Okay. So now let's write down. So pivot is 14. This is the pivot. So help me in writing down L. M is 14. L, M, and R. M is 14. So what is L? All elements less than 14. Okay. So you just scan the array from left to right. Write down all elements that are less than 14 here. So what is that? 12, 5, 4, 10, 9, 22 is larger, 16 is larger, then 11, 13, 24 is larger, then 8. So, I mean, algorithmically, that is what is happening. So you just write down, so 22 here, then 16 here, then 24 here, then 8, 7, 14 is here, so 15 comes here, and 19. Okay, that is it. So what is the size of L? 3, 3, 6, 3, 9. Size of L is 9. What is the size of R? Should be 5. Okay. So this is the partition. Now, depending on the value of K, say K was 5. What would be the recursion on? Yeah.
On L.
On L, right? If K is 11, the recursion will be on R. What is the rank of the median of medians, which is 14?
7.
Rank is 7. Are you sure?
Rank is 10.
Rank is 10, right? Size of L plus 1. Yeah. So rank of the median is 10. So if K were 10, you'll just output in one shot. Okay. Else you'll recurse accordingly. Is it clear how the algorithm is working? So just to help visualization. So this is the first block. This is the second block. I mean, second subarray. This is the third subarray. Okay. Yeah. So for each subarray, you compute the median. You take the medians, put it as array. Okay. Mu1, mu2, mu3, and then recursively compute the median of them, and take that value. Use that as a pivot. Partition the subarray into 3 parts. Okay. You recurse on either the left part or the right part, depending on the value of K and size of L as well as R. Okay. So that is all the algorithm is. Now,
Sir,
yeah, yes.
Sir, so in left part, we have to do all the steps once again, right?
Yes. So there are 2 recursion, right? One is on the median of medians. I mean, on the medians, or array consisting of medians, and the second is either L or R, depending on the value of K.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So there are 2 recursive calls here. Yeah.
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, but when
Yes.
we are computing the median of A1, we already know elements like 5 and 4 is less than n. So if we have, if the median is 4, we can use that fact for calculating the L, right? So we can reduce the number of comparisons, right?
Yeah, but that is only by how much, right? So yeah, if you do it, I mean, no, because you don't know the median beforehand, right? No, that cannot be reduced. But anyway, it does not matter. But see, this value you know only after the recursive call returns, right? Recursive call for median of medians.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, so you will know median only after this step is complete, which is again a recursion step. In this case, it was trivial because the size was 3. Okay, but in general, it need not be the case.
Okay, sir.
Only after knowing that we will be able to partition, right? So yeah. So even if you, by some clever method, even if you reduce that, the overall complexity is not going to reduce by much. So that way, yeah, that saving is not very important.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other question? Is it clear how the algorithm is performing? Should we go over the algorithm once again?
Yes, sir. Can you just summarize once again?
Yeah. So just to summarize, so what we do is first subdivide the array into n by 5 subarrays, each of size 5. Okay. So for simplicity, we just assume 5 divides n. Okay. So let's call these arrays as a1 to an by 5. By brute force or any of your favorite methods, on each subarray, you compute the median. Okay. Which can be done for each subarray in constant number of operations. Let's say 20. Okay. So in 21 n comparisons, you can get n by 5 medians. Let's call this as mu1, mu2, etc., mu n by 5. Okay. So now these medians, I just consider it as an array. So let's call it as mu. Okay. Now I make a recursive call computing the median of these. That is, select mu as the array, n by 10 as a value of k, n by 5 is the size of array. Okay. Again, I'm assuming that 10 divides n is a multiple of 10. Otherwise, you take a floor or seal accordingly. Okay. I mean, you take seal, that's enough. Okay. Now assume that the recursive call returns a value. Okay. So let a be the returned value. Yeah. So far, this circus, including this recursion, is to get a value. Okay, which we use as pivot. So use this pivot now. Use this median of medians as a pivot to partition the array further. I mean, not further. I mean, just partition the array again from the scratch. Okay. So let L, M, and R be the partition. M is the pivot. So now solve for finding rank k element recursively based on the size of L as well as value of k. That is, if size of L is equal to k minus 1, then return the pivot itself. That is A, which was actually median of medians. And if size of L is greater than k minus 1, then recurse on L, else recurse on R by adjusting k suitably, just like we did in quick select. Okay, so this is the algorithm. All right. So now the hard task is to bound up running time. So is it clear the algorithm is correct? Will you be able to write down the argument? So the correctness follows.
Is it not the same as the previous algorithm's correctness? Just here we are replacing the random part with the deterministic part of choosing a pivot.
Yeah, so pivot, but there is also one more recursion that you made, right? So I mean, the argument is very similar. You just make suitable induction hypothesis. Say that on all arrays of size less than n, the algorithm works correctly. Yeah. So then what you have is here the correctness is guaranteed by induction hypothesis, and then again here by the choice, right? So by the case analysis that we did for quick select. So this choice is, I mean, the choice that we made to recurse on is correct. And then again, by induction hypothesis, the correctness follows. So because we know that size of either L or R, wherever we are recursing on, strictly less than n, at least one of the elements, which is in this case, at least the pivot, is left out, right? So that is all. The argument is all, but I would request you to, all of you to write down the argument, okay? So just to convince yourself, it is important, okay? Good. So yeah, I'll take 3 minutes, okay, just to set up the recurrence, okay? So then we'll see how to solve it. Okay, so let's first write down the recursion. So TNK, worst case running time. When I say runtime comparison, okay, of the algo for any array of size n. And as usual, I just take Tn as a maximum overall k. Okay. So now let's set up a recurrence. See, there are multiple reasons why we take this maximum overall k. Because see, for a given k, I'll be using several other values of k in recursion, right? Yeah. One is n by 10, and I mean for the median of medians, and in the second case, size of L and so on, right? I mean size of R, depending on size of R and k. Okay. So that is why we always take maximum, which is the safest bet. Okay. Okay. So let's give the upper bound. Let's first give the bound on the comparisons that we make, independent of the recursive calls. One is 20n to compute the medians for each block, right? And one n-1 for pivot, partitioning the array with respect to the pivot in step 4, right? So it's basically 21n. Is it okay? 21n. For computing the median, how much on 5-element array? Let's say 20 comparisons. That's fine, right? That's enough. Okay. Otherwise, I mean, any favorite constant that you like, that's fine. Okay. Something which should bound. I mean, you should have a way of obtaining the median for each block in that. Yeah. Now the important portion. Okay. So for the recursive call that we made in step 3 of the algorithm, let's go back and see the median of median. So what is the size of the array? How many medians were there? N by 5, right?
N by 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So size of the array is n by 5. So the corresponding value will be T of n by 5. Okay. Now the rest is it depends on k as well as the rank of the pivot. Okay. So, but what will be the bound? Say R is the rank of the pivot, rank of A in A. Say, remember that A is the median of medians. So if R is the rank of the pivot, what will be the worst case value? Irrespective of K. This will be max of R minus 1 comma n minus R. Sorry, it looks like H. Right? Do you all agree? So where R is the rank of the pivot. So that is an unknown for us. Okay. So I'll make one claim. Let's call it as claim 1. Okay. So R is, sorry, at least 3n by 10 and at most 7n by 10 plus or minus 1. Okay. So rank of our pivot, which is median of medians, is bounded by below by 3n by 10 by above 7n by 10. In either case, what is this worst case value now? So therefore, T of n is at most 21n plus T of n by 5 plus, what is the worst case value? Max of this. So if R is in this range, right, what is the maximum value of R minus 1 comma n minus R? This will be max of 7n by 10 comma n minus 3n by 10, which is 7n by 10. Okay, so this is our recursion. So there are two things I need to do complete. So next, what we need to do is in the next lecture is prove claim 1, solve the recurrence. So these two things we are going to do in the next lecture, okay, in full detail. So we'll justify our statements. Yeah, I hope so far it is clear. So yeah, the non-trivial two tasks are, one is to prove claim 1 and solve the recurrence. That we will do in the next lecture. I'm already out of time. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop with this for today. We'll continue from here in the next lecture.